Welcome, folks, to another live stream with me, Professor Heather Austin. I'm super excited to see you guys in the live chat today. We are going to be covering 3 easy steps to write an incredible resume in the case of a recession. Plus, if you stick around until the end, we are going to be doing live resume reviews. I'm super excited to see you guys here. If you can hear me and my audio is working properly and you're here and you're excited for today's live stream, make sure you hit the thumbs up button down below. It lets me know that all things are working properly and that you guys are as excited as I am about today's live training. Now, I have some amazing slides to share with you guys today. You're going to want to take lots and lots of notes, okay? You're also going to want to stick around because I have some amazing resources to share with you, okay? I have links to some amazing things that are going to change your life in terms of your job seeking or your job search, okay? So say hello in the chat. Let me know where you guys are joining from. I know a lot of you jumped in early, so I want to say hello to you. It looks like we had Lizzie jumped in. Hello, Lizzie. Let's see. Kania, I think is how you say your name. Edwin is here. So happy to see you, Edwin. Michael is here. Well, we got 2 Michaels here. Good morning from Maine. So happy to have you guys here. Let's see. So many of you here. The chat's moving so fast. Quinn is here. Alex is here. Jana is here. Adina is here. So happy to see you guys. So again, while you guys are jumping in, and if you're tuning into this as the replay as well, say hello in the comments down below. Say hello, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know that you're here. My team is here as well. So by the way, you guys, if you have any questions about your resume or anything career related, make sure you pop that into the chat because I will be answering your questions as we go throughout today's live stream. Okay, so say hello. We're going to get started right away because I have so much information to share with you guys. Now, let me share my first resource with you. I want to share my very first link with you before I jump into my slides. Well, this is a slide, but let me share this one with you really quickly. We are hosting a very special live job interview confidence training. So today we're basically going to be talking all about your resume, but in a couple weeks, we're going to be hosting a live job interview confidence training. Now, this is a free masterclass where we're going to be talking about everything from mastering your nerves and anxiety during your job interviews. We're going to be talking about the most commonly asked interview questions and how you should be answering them. We'll be talking about behavioral-based questions and how you can structure your career stories to answer those questions. And we're also going to be talking about questions you should be asking your interviewer. So this is a free masterclass available to all of you guys. So if you go to heatheraustin.online/interview-training, you'll be able to save your spot for that masterclass. My team will also pop the link for you in the chat. In fact, I want to pop it in, and I'm going to pin the comment for you so that you guys have that, so that during this resume training, you'll be able to basically save your spot for that. So make sure you do that. Spots will fill up really, really, really fast for this masterclass. We have actually only hosted this masterclass maybe twice, and we normally get thousands and thousands of attendees. So you're definitely going to want to make sure you save your seat. So heatheraustin.online/interview-training. I know that's a long URL, but that's the URL. So the link's in the chat for you. Make sure you save your spot for that masterclass. And it's in a couple weeks. We are going to cover a lot during that training. So let me jump in and share with you guys how to write an incredible resume in 2022. I'm going to share with you 3 easy steps. Now, here's the thing. Are we in a recession? Are we about to go into a recession? Are we not in a recession? I will tell you guys, in just the last week, the job search market is changing, okay? We have actually seen in the last 6 months or even longer, where we've almost had 2 job openings per every 1 job seeker, okay, which has been amazing. But I will tell you guys, there has been a shift in even just the last week, which has spurred us on to give this training to you guys, because we are seeing that there are certain sectors, retail sectors, that are seeing less foot traffic. We are seeing layoffs start to take place. We are even seeing hiring freezes from large companies like Meta or Facebook, okay? So you guys need to be prepared for this. If you've been sitting on this and you have not been pushing yourself forward to write your resume, to get out there and network and find a new job opportunity, I'm telling you right now is the time to do it, okay? Now, here's the other thing. At the very end, we are going to be doing live resume reviews. Now, we had hundreds of resumes submitted, and let me tell you guys, just so you know, my team and I, we read through every single message. So when I put out a message and I say, hey, what do you want to get out of this resume review? The folks that write back and they tell me their story, they tell me the situation they're in, they give me a little bit of information to work with. Those are normally the people that we choose because it helps me understand better where you are and how I can help you with your resume, okay? So again, make sure next time we do this review, and by the way, we only do these reviews a couple times a year, but I will say that I love all of you guys, and every resume that came through, I was like, I wish we could review every single one of these, but I'm going to get to those at the very end. So, and you know what? All of you will benefit from those reviews. So, how to write an incredible resume in 2022, 3 easy steps, plus live resume reviews. Now, if you have not yet told me in the chat, I want to know, where are you joining us from today? And then I also want to know, what is your dream job title? Okay, so where are you joining us from and what is your dream job title? Now, as you guys are typing that in, if you don't know who I am and you're just like, who is this Heather Austin person? Let me explain a little bit about who I am. So back in 2017, I decided to take all of my corporate and my academic experience and start a YouTube channel sharing everything that I knew about career development. So as a university professor, as an academic dean, as a campus president in training, as all those positions, I had the opportunity to hire hundreds and hundreds of people, but I also had the opportunity to teach others how to hire people. So over the years, I've gained a lot of experience on the hiring end, the recruiting end, resume writing, interview, all that good stuff. And that's what I teach you guys here on this channel. Now, the reason why I started my channel is because back in 2017, when there were a lot of changes going on in the marketplace, I was actually in a position that I knew I needed to move on from. There were layoffs, there were resignations, there was a lot of toxicity in the workplace. And here I am today teaching you guys everything that I know about career related items. Now, here's the thing. If you guys don't know me as well, this is my main platform. This is where I teach most everything that I teach. Our channel is now close to almost 200,000 subscribers. And we've actually had probably now close to 14 million views here on this channel. So we cover everything from resume writing, LinkedIn strategies, job search strategies, interview strategies, you name it, we cover it here on this channel if it has to do with anything career related. So if you have not yet done so, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, because this will help you get notified when I do trainings just like this, or when I publish a new video here on my channel. And then I also want to share with you guys what's possible when you hit subscribe and you tune into this channel every single week. So I want to share with you guys a couple of success stories. So here is from Gianna. Gianna said, I got hired. Thank you for all your guidance. I was told I was so impressive and professionally polished that they wanted me to start immediately. So she goes on to say, my new dream career is fully remote and has a huge impact in the community. She said, I'm so happy. Here's what Margene said. Margene said, I would like to express my gratitude for giving these tips. And guess what? I got hired last week and will start this coming Monday. She says, I highly recommend this video for job seekers like me. Here's what Lydia said. Lydia said, on every job I applied, I got an interview. She said, finally on the third interview, I got a job offer with an increase. Okay, so here's what she goes on to say. Thank you so much for this great information, videos, and templates. So by the way, I'm going to be sharing all this stuff with you guys today. Here's what Tom said. He said, I used all of your advice in this video and not only landed a job interview after sending my resume and cover letter, I got the job. He says, after watching the video, I could see how your format, which I'm going to share with you guys in just a second, was a lot more direct and to the point, short and sweet. So by the way, you guys, turn off all your distractions, get ready to learn, because we are going to be diving into 3 easy steps to write an incredible resume in the case of a recession, okay? So you want to make sure you tune in to all of these steps I'm about to share with you. Let me see where you guys are in the chat. I see Gina is here from Los Angeles. Let's see. Noreen says Chief Financial Officer is the dream job title. I see a business system analyst. Hello, Lisa. So happy you're here. I see a tabular master certified data analyst. That's a mouthful. I like that, AR. Thanks for sharing that. Lizzie says, joining from California, my goal job is a health educator who will work with people diagnosed with prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. I'm in my senior year of school and will graduate in December. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Lizzie. I want to say hi to all of you guys. I wish we were here having conversations together right now. Okay, I have another question for you before we jump into the tips that I'm going to share with you, plus live resume reviews. What's your biggest resume writing challenge? So when you go to write your resume and you're like, okay, I got to get this thing kind of squared away, what is your biggest resume writing challenge? Okay, let me know. Type that into the chat. While you guys are typing that in, by the way, I do have a couple more resources to share with you. So the first one we shared, our live job interview confidence training. Make sure you get your spot for that. We do have a flash offer running for our career advancement toolkit. I'll tell you where to get that in just a second. And then I have a few more resources to share with you. But while you guys are typing in your biggest resume writing challenge, I want you to think about a couple things, okay? So before you actually write your resume, there's 3 things I want you to think about. I don't have separate slides for this, so make sure you guys jot this down if you can. So the 3 things I want you to remember is, the first one is your resume is actually just the first hurdle. Okay, so I know I talk a lot about resumes on this channel, and I'm a big proponent in having a solid resume before you go into a job interview. But the thing I want you to keep in mind is that it is only the first hurdle. Okay, so once you create your career narrative and you get it kind of written out in your resume, it actually gives you a little bit more ammunition moving forward to create other parts of your career portfolio, which leads me to the second thing I want you to remember before you create your resume is that the resume is not the only resource to help you land a job. Okay. It's the first hurdle, but it's not the only resource. Okay. I want you to think about your career portfolio as a whole. Okay. So I'm talking about your cover letter, your LinkedIn strategy, your networking strategy, even your job search strategy. Okay. Now, the third thing I want you to remember before you even write your resume, and this is probably the most important, is if you have a really good resume, it actually gives you much more confidence when you go into your interview and when you negotiate your salary, okay? So it gives you much more confidence when you go into your interview and you negotiate your salary. So it's just the first step. So I'm teaching you guys the first step, okay? But after this, there's a couple more steps that you need to conquer in order to land that job offer. So we'll cover more of that as we go through. So let me see where you guys are in terms of your biggest challenge. Let's see. Kathleen, hello. Kathleen says challenge reducing the size, 30 years of experience. By the way, I have an example to share with you guys where I can't remember how long her resume was. I think it was 3 or 4 pages. And our number one advice was, you need to shorten this baby, okay? So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Jessica says proofreading, worried about mistakes. I've seen resumes submitted with mistakes, and they're small things. So yes, that is a big challenge. Lizzie says the overview. Truth to Freedom, hello, says cramming all the keywords from the job description. Yes, that's a big one. I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. Someone says mentioning my accomplishments as per different job requirements of various companies. Yes, we're going to talk about that too. So some amazing challenges. Keep typing your challenges in. I love seeing this so that I can make sure we tackle on some of these. And by the way, if you do have questions, pop those in as well, because we will get to those. Okay. So remember, I'm going to share with you 3 steps, and then we're going to go into some resume review. So the very first step when it comes to creating an incredible resume is you need a clear structure. Okay. So a lot of times, again, and I told you guys, we review hundreds of resumes every single week here. So I see a lot of interesting things. I will say over the years, since I've been doing this show, the resumes are actually getting better. So I know that you're listening to what I'm teaching you because the resumes are actually getting better. So I love to see how much they've changed in just the last couple of years. So when it comes to a clear structure, there's a couple things I want you to keep in mind here. We're not just going to create a clear structure for your applicant tracking system. we are creating a clear structure for the human reader. Okay, so let's say I'm a recruiter and I get a hold of your resume and I'm glancing through it, or I'm a hiring manager, or I'm a CEO that's doing some hiring. We are creating a clear structure, not just for the human reader, but for the ATS. Okay, so I want you to keep those in mind. Now I'm going to share with you guys some images so that you can see what I mean by having a clear structure. Okay, so this first one is the top half. Now I have a separate step where we're going to talk more about the top half, but really quickly here, the top half is by far the most important section on your resume. This is where you're going to have your contact information. Okay, you're going to have your career summary, or well, even before your career summary, you're going to have your headline, some key skills, which we're going to talk more about in just a second. You'll have some sort of summary. You can even have a highlight section, and then you can have a core competency section. Now, keep in mind, this example that I'm showing you, this top half, every resume is unique and different depending on you and how much work experience you have. So let me give you a caveat here. If I'm a recent graduate, I might not have a list of career highlights at the top of my resume, okay? Because I might not have a whole lot of career highlights to list. You could still have that. I'm not saying you don't have to, but you have to take into account what your experience is and what other items you have on your resume. This is just kind of a quick example to show you need to structure that top half, okay? Now, the second part that we need to make sure is structured properly in your resume is your experience section. So normally after the top half, we'll have some sort of experience section, okay? How I like to structure my experience section is I will have a paragraph right under the job title and the company name that either explains my job responsibilities at a glance, okay? Or that explains what the company mission is, okay? Something to that effect. And then I'm going to have some bullet points. Now I'm going to teach you in just a second how to write these bullet points, right? But you'll have some sort of bullet points in there. And then of course you list your dates, so on and so forth. Okay. This is a very basic concept, but I did see a lot of resumes come through this time where the structure was not totally legit. And this is where we want to make sure you get the structure right. Now, after your experience section, and keep in mind, I'm showing you guys a 2-page resume. Okay. So on this resume, and by the way, this is the resume that's inside of my career advancement toolkit, which I'm going to share with you guys in just a second, where you can grab. This is the second page where I'm listing the education. If you are a recent grad, you do not need a 2-page resume, okay? Even if you have less than 5 years of work experience, you do not need a 2-page resume. You can stick with a 1-page. However, this is an example of how we would have our education section written. Now, you could even have a certifications and licenses section. Let's say you don't have a formal master's or bachelor's degree or whatever. You can have another section that is titled licenses and certifications, something to that effect, okay? What we want to do, the point here is we want to show that you're gaining some training, okay, rather than work experience, that you're gaining some training in the field in some way. The other important part is other key sections, okay? So when I talk about other key sections, there's so many things you could put here. You could do volunteer experience. You could put awards and honors. You could, the list goes on and on. The ones that I have in this example, I like these the most. I especially like technical skills for my more seasoned workers, because what this shows is that you can use technology and that you are good with technology, okay? It also shows, especially with remote work being such a big factor right now, this is the perfect place for you to put anything related to remote work, any new conferencing software that you need to know how to use, yada, 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 right? And then the other example here is your professional and volunteer involvement. These are just optional sections, but I wanted to show you guys how to structure your resume, okay? So you're going to have a variation of those depending on who you are, what work experience you have, and what you want to highlight, okay? Now, my next question for you, what part of your resume needs the most work? So of all the sections that I talked to you about, what part would you say needs the most work? Type that into the chat. And while you guys are typing that in, Tori and my team, they're here. They are sharing links with you. Don't forget about the job interview confidence training in a couple weeks. You guys are going to definitely want to save your spot for that. That's a free job interview masterclass. She's also sharing links to our Facebook group. So if you guys are not yet in our free Facebook group, I think we have close to 14,000 members in there. We have Catherine, who is our in-house career strategy expert, resume writer, recruiter, all sorts of awesome things that she is. She's in there answering questions every day. There's another team of career strategy experts in there. We are in there answering questions for you. It's a free group. It's a fantastic place. If you've not yet joined that group, make sure you do that. And those links are in the chat as well in the description below. Okay, let's see where you guys are in terms of the sections that you need to work on. So Jean says work experience. Awesome. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Keyword section, work experience. I'm seeing a lot of work experience. Richard says the top section. I'm glad you mentioned that, Richard, because here's the thing, you guys. That's probably by far the most important. Quinn also mentioned that too. Top half or maybe the experience section. Yes, good. Okay, let's go into our second step really quick. And by the way, we will be getting into resume reviews in just a second here. And that is to pay special attention to your career summary. Okay, so the first step is creating a clear structure. The second step is paying special attention to your career summary. So let me just show you one more shot. And you guys saw this a little bit earlier. This is actually a enhanced, larger version of the career summary. So I want to break it down really quickly for you so you can see what this actually looks like and what it means. So we're always going to start with the title or the heading or some title of some sort, normally the title of the position. We're then always going to lead with some 3 key skills. Now, here's the thing. I got a lot of messages from you guys that said, what's wrong with my resume? I am not getting feedback. I am not getting callbacks. Nothing's coming through. Nothing's happening for me. Pay attention to this part if you're one of those people, because this top half, if you even just tweak just this top half, it could change everything for you, okay? So we have our title, we have the 3 key skills that fall under that. We then have some sort of summary, okay, 3 to 4 sentences where we talk about our experience or our expertise. This is where we're going to tell them who we are and who we help and how we help them, okay? Now, if you guys have ever listened to my LinkedIn trainings, this is very, very, very similar to what's in your About section on LinkedIn, okay? So you could basically use this whole entire section and put it onto LinkedIn. You're basically going to explain your professional background and experience and tell the company how you're helping them solve a problem or a specific problem, okay? Now, after that, you'll see the bulleted list of items. That's my career highlights section, okay? Again, if I'm a recent grad, I probably won't include this. I'll probably just include my title, my 3 key skills, and a paragraph of some sort. If I am an experienced professional, I want to see a bulleted list of career highlights. Now, I know there's so much debate, you guys. Like I had someone write in and say, I was told I don't need a career summary. Let me tell you, looking at hundreds and hundreds of resumes every single week, a career summary is so valuable, because guess what it does for me? It allows me to glance really quickly at who you are. I can pull out a couple of these bullet points and I can know right then if I want to bring you in for an interview. I might even just quickly glance at your experience section and then I'm done with the resume, okay? If you can give it to me where I can look at it for 3 seconds and I can make a decision in 3 seconds, you have made my day. And that's what the career summary does, okay? Now, after the highlight section, you'll notice I included a core competency section in here. This is totally optional. The core competency section is what helps with your applicant tracking system, because here's where I can pop in some really nice keywords and keyword phrases that if that applicant tracking system is looking for those, I've given them to them. I've given the keywords to them on a silver platter and said basically strategic planning, revenue growth, sales growth, lead generation, yada, yada, yada. Now, your core competencies will be specific to you. I want to mention one caveat. So listen up if you have dozed off. Hopefully you haven't, but listen very specifically to this part. If you are a seasoned professional, you do not need a core competency section necessarily. The reason why is because I would love to see, right after your nice, awesome highlights, I would love to see your work experience begin. Okay. So again, if you are a seasoned professional, you may decide not to use that core competency section. It depends on what else is on your resume. It depends on what other information you're sharing and telling me about yourself. Okay. So keep that in mind, you guys. Now, let me know in the chat. Give me a big, huge yes if this is making sense to you. If this whole career summary is making sense to you, type that into the chat. Just type yes. And while you guys are typing that in, let me move into the third step really quickly. So the third step before we get to resume reviews is focus on results-driven achievement statements. So here's the thing, you guys. If you do nothing at all, but these 3 steps on your resume, I can promise you, you will see results, okay? So focus on results-driven achievement statements. So let me show you what I mean by results-driven achievement statements. We look at achievement statements in 2 categories, okay? We look at them as quantitative, but we also look at them as qualitative. And by the way, I have never broken it down before like this on my channel. So tune into this part. It's super, super, super important. When we look at quantitative results, we're looking at numbers, dollars, percentages, times, and frequency, okay? But when we look at qualitative, because I know a lot of you will say, Heather, I have the hardest time coming up with these results-driven achievement statements. I don't know how to quantify these things. I want you to think in terms of qualitative. I want you to think of promotions, honors, awards, recognitions, or acknowledgments in some way, okay? Those can also be results-driven. So those 2 categories. Now, when you're thinking about these things, a couple questions I want you to ask yourself. I want you to ask yourself, what special things do you do that set you apart from everyone else, okay? I also want you to think about, what do you do if you're currently employed to make your job your own? Or what did you do in a previous position to make it your own? How did you make it yours? And what sets you apart from everyone else? Okay, those are the 2 things I really want you to think about as you're brainstorming. Now, let me show you a quick little formula that you can use, or it's not really a formula, it's just to help you jot down notes and to get started. You would say something like, I did this. So this is where you're going to list your task, and the outcome was what? Okay. Another way you could put this is, I did this and it resulted in what? So most of the time when I see a resume that has had no one proofread it, that it's someone that's just kind of starting from scratch, that has no idea what they're doing, they haven't watched a video like this, or they haven't really dug deep into really learning how to write a solid resume, normally what they do is they tell me what their task was. They say, I did this. And I'm like, that's great. That's awesome. You did that. What was the outcome? Or what did that task result in? Okay, so again, remember, we're always going to think about the outcome or the result. So use this statement. By the way, screenshot this page if you need to. Use this statement to help you form those sentences. So I'm seeing a lot of yeses in there. Alex says yep. Shayna says yes. Wycliffe says yes. I'm so glad this is making sense to you guys. Awesome. Okay, Lizzie said, how about for someone who is trying to get hired just when they graduated? I'm not sure what you're asking about, Lizzie. Are you meaning the summary? Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about achievements? You might be talking about achievements. If you are a recent grad, here's the thing. You need to be focusing on projects that you've completed, teamwork that you've completed, anything that you're doing on campus, or not necessarily on campus because you might be doing online courses, but anything that you're doing that relates to your schoolwork, okay? Anything that you can quantify, or again, let me go back to this other slide again. The qualitative section is going to be really helpful for you because again, this is where maybe you were recognized, maybe you received 100% on a project, maybe you took the team lead. Like there's so many amazing things you could quantify there. Okay, I'm going to show you guys a couple quick examples. So here's the top example, of course, is a poor one. The bottom one is how we could change that. Hired and managed a team to successfully implement a new database solution. Okay, that's great, but I can also add numbers and data to that, and then I can also add my results. Okay, so hired and managed a team of 8 product developers to successfully implement a new database solution ahead of schedule. So notice ahead of schedule now is how I am adding some sort of data to that or some sort of measurement, okay? Let me show you another quick example. Used social media to help promote company's website. Okay, well, let's get, because this is one I see a lot. I see some statement very, very, very similar to this a lot. How about increased website traffic by 20% over a 3-month period through the development of an initiative social media marketing campaign? So doesn't that sound so much better? And by the way, I'm now keeping track of my 20% over a certain timeline. And here's the thing, you guys, that 20% does not need to be 100% accurate. It doesn't have to be like, oh my gosh, what's this exact number? Employers know that it is a guesstimation. Of course, you're going to try and get as close to the exact number as you can, but don't freak out if you're not exact, okay? And if you don't know the exact number, use an estimation. Okay, another quick tip for you. Well, I have a bonus tip, but before I share this bonus tip, I want to know if you were to say what sets you apart from everyone else, type that into the chat. What's one thing that sets you apart from everyone else? Pop that into the chat. And while you guys are popping that in, I am going to share a quick bonus tip with you, okay? I want you to remember the importance of a powerful LinkedIn profile. So we've talked all things resumes today. I'm a big proponent of having an amazing, incredible resume because I have seen what it can do to job seekers just by making a few different tweaks. But I will tell you, more and more and more, we are finding that our job seekers are making little slight changes or little slight adjustments to their LinkedIn profile, and they are seeing even more massive results, okay? So I want you guys to remember the importance of a powerful LinkedIn profile. And maybe someone from my team, we did just release a LinkedIn video. In fact, I have a lot. In fact, if you just go to YouTube and you type in how to use LinkedIn, I think I have like 10 videos for you to watch. They're all right there at the top. Pick one of them and watch through that, because LinkedIn is changing the game for so many job seekers right now. And I want you to remember the importance of this. Let me just show you a quick screenshot of the 3 things I want you to think about on your LinkedIn profile: your photo, your headline, and your about section. Now, here's the thing. That top half of your resume is basically your headline and your about section. So if you get that written and you get that all composed, chances are you can transfer that right over to LinkedIn and start seeing results straight away, okay? Now, really quickly, before we jump into reviews, I want to know, what is your biggest aha moment so far? Now, I still have some resumes to share with you guys, but I want to know, what's your biggest aha moment so far, okay? And while you guys are typing that in, most of you are here today because, and I got a lot of messages. We got hundreds of messages, and I asked you guys, I'm like, what's happening? Like, what's going on with your resume? What's your biggest challenge? Some of you mentioned that you're just discouraged by the lack of attention your resume is getting. Some of you even mentioned that you have a hard time pinpointing your strengths and quantifying those accomplishments, which we just talked about. Some of you even mentioned that you've landed jobs through word of mouth before, and now you're thinking, oh crap, I got to get a resume going and I need to start submitting that. Some of you might even have been laid off or furloughed because of what's been happening on our globe the last couple of years, and now you're wondering what your next steps are. Now, remember that everything I've shared with you guys today, none of this is just a good idea or theory. These are things that my clients and my students have used to land jobs at top Fortune 500 companies or top 10 companies. They are things that my clients and my students have used to double their salary, okay, to get multiple job interviews in one day. So I know you guys want to experience the same success that they have, which is why I want to invite you to join us inside of the Career Advancement Toolkit. Now, if you've not heard of the Career Advancement Toolkit, it's an exclusive suite of resources. It includes video lessons, templates, guides, instructions, and examples to help you secure your next job offer. This is where I really want you guys to apply an interview with confidence. Now, let me share a few success stories from you. Or with you. So Kevin actually received a job offer from every single interview. He says, finally got a job offer thanks to Heather and all of her help. In fact, every interview I had received an offer from, okay? And he goes on to say, so if you're searching or have been laid off, trust me, you'll find something. Hang in there. It always gets better. Now, here's what Margaret said. She actually landed in an amazing position that wasn't even advertised. So she said, I just accepted an absolutely amazing position with a company that does not advertise publicly. She said, Professor Austin's resume template made a big difference. She said, I updated the resume using Heather's template. And then she says, amazing results, okay? Here's what happened with Emma. She actually landed a job in a new sector after being made redundant due to COVID, okay? So she totally switched sectors. She says, I started my new job. She says, thanks to Heather for all the amazing resources. I know they helped me communicate my career story, transferable skills, and experience more effectively, which, by the way, if you are switching careers, your career story and your transferable skills are a big, big part of that, okay? Here's what happened with Ryan. He actually edited his resume and landed 3 interviews in 2 weeks. Now, here's the crazy thing about Ryan. What happened with Ryan is he had just 1 interview in 3 years. He said, I purchased Professor Heather Austin's Toolkit. I edited my resume using the Toolkit and applied to 3 positions. This week, I heard back from all 3 jobs wanting to interview me. Here's what happened with Claudia. She landed a new role after creating a successful resume and acing her interview. She said, great. She said, I just started my new job. Great resources, training, and advice that all played a role in a successful resume application and interview. Now, let me show you guys really quickly what's inside of the toolkit. There's dozens of done-for-you templates. So we're talking about your resume, your cover letter, even your LinkedIn profile templates. There's bonus resume writing video lessons, my perfect cover letter how-to guide, my LinkedIn profile essentials starter pack, my ultimate guide to surviving your job search, and lifetime access to the course material. So anytime that we make changes, which, by the way, my team and I are reviewing the toolkit now, we're adding even more amazing templates to the toolkit. You guys get access to that. And I'll explain more about this, but I don't think we're going to offer the toolkit again for the price that I'm going to show you guys in just a second. Let me share with you guys a couple of bonuses with you really quick before we get into resume reviews. We have a bonus training. It's a job interview confidence training that you will have access to if you enroll in the toolkit today. Inside this bonus interview training, we talk about how to manage your nerves and anxiety during an interview. We're going to cover the top 5 commonly asked interview questions. I also share a simple method for answering behavioral-based interview questions, and then again, questions to ask your interviewer. So that is included inside the toolkit. You also have access to our experts printable interview guide. So it's actually a step-by-step guide to developing standout responses to interview questions, again, including the behavioral interview questions to help you stay on track when you go into your interview. And then I have a fast action bonus for you guys. You know I always have to have a fast action bonus of some sort. The first 20 people to grab the toolkit will receive a free cover letter workshop. That's 5 bonus video lessons where you'll learn how to use your cover letter as a mini sales presentation. Now, this fast action bonus will be gone by the end of the day. So if you guys have been on the fence about the toolkit, or you're like, yes, I want to get this, now is the time to do it so that you can get in for that fast action bonus. So the value of everything inside here, okay, the templates, the trainings, the guides, the resources in the toolkit is $13.79. Okay, that's the value of everything in here. However, you guys can join today for just $97. Now, we are going to be increasing the price of the toolkit, okay? I know I say this every time, and we've tried our hardest to keep this at a price point or a level that is affordable to you guys, where it's almost like, how could I not buy this? But with the enhancements and the improvements we are making, all the awesome new templates that we're going to be adding, the price is going to be going up on this. So if you guys want access to all the new stuff, but you want to get it at a killer rate, now is your time to do it. Don't miss out. If you start now, you'll actually save $200 off the full price. Here's the thing. The flash sale expires on Thursday, May 12th. So you guys basically have 2.5 days to grab the toolkit, okay? So make sure that you jump in and grab it now if you have been on the fence. Now, my team has popped a link for you guys inside the toolkit. inside the chat. You'll also have a link inside the description down below this video. You can also go to heatheraustin.online/live offer. All the links lead to the exact same place, so you'll want to hop in and grab that. I am going to also pin the link for you guys at the top of the chat so that you guys have that as well. And then make sure you get any questions. If you guys have any questions about the toolkit, any questions about your resume, pop those in because we are going to be answering those. Now, I want to share just a couple more success stories with you guys because I want you to know what's possible with the toolkit. Okay. Here's what happened with Tracy. She actually turned her internship into a full-time permanent position. So she said, Heather's resources helped me land an interview for a web developer internship. She said, so definitely use her resume and cover letter templates, which by the way are inside the toolkit. She said, and my internship recently offered me a full-time position. And here's the other thing she said, I also switched careers. Okay. So amazing from Tracy. Here's what happened with Terry. He landed a fabulous job offer, even though he was 10 years out of the job search. So he goes on to say, your guidance helped me polish up my LinkedIn, rev up my resume, and helped me ace the interview to get a fabulous job offer for a position that I will really enjoy. He says, I'm a 57-year-old fossil who is 10 years out of the job market. So we're not only helping recent grads, we are helping experienced professionals land work they love. Here's what happened with Ed. He actually had given up on his job search, and he said right before receiving a job offer from a great company, he says the moral of the story is that when you least expect something, something happens, okay? So do not give up on this job search, you guys, if you have been at it for a while. A little few tweaks to your career portfolio and resources like the toolkit can change the game for you. Here's what happened with Colleen. She's moved through the interview process successfully using the toolkit. She says, your advice has been awesome, especially the career toolkit. I have been passing your name and videos to everyone. Here's what happened with Faith. She actually landed a remote customer service position. She said, I just wanted to share some great news. I got a remote customer service position. I can't thank you enough, Professor Heather Austin. Here's what happened with Tanya. Tanya actually applied to 9 positions, landed 6 interviews, and received 3 job offers. So she goes on to say, I'm finally employed again in an industry I love and know well. She was put on temp leave due to COVID. And then she shares the success of using the toolkit. Applied to 9, got 6 interviews that led to second interviews, and then received 3 job offers. So one of the things that we are working on in the toolkit, because we're getting so many successes from people that are like, I have multiple job offers. What do I do with multiple job offers? Is we're teaching you guys how to manage the multiple job offers, because here's the thing, it's all about timing. Here's what happened with David. He actually had been searching for a new job for 13 months. He goes on to say that he actually stopped counting how many times he had been ghosted, okay? And thank you for applying, but we're going with another candidate. Well, he said, I'm reaching out to let you know your advice, help, and wisdom have paid off. He said, this past week, I landed a wonderful new position. He said, COVID may have taken my last job, but it also provided me a new one. He says, I'm working for a biotech company that is fighting to end the COVID pandemic. He said, I can't thank you enough for getting me on the right track for this new position. He says, I now make more than I thought was possible, all while doing something that helps others. Okay, one more, you guys. I have to introduce you to Troy really quick. So Troy landed an interview and an offer within 1 week from his favorite employer. So his employer basically told him that out of the 50 to 60 resumes that were submitted for the position, his was the one that had everything that they needed. Okay, so that's what we teach you inside of the toolkit. So just to recap really quickly, dozens of done for you templates. You get your fast action bonus cover letter workshop. So again, that goes to the first 20 people that sign up, which by the way, that will be gone today. Bonus resume writing video lessons, bonus job interview confidence training, a bonus experts interview guide, my perfect cover letter how-to guide, the LinkedIn profile essentials starter pack, which by the way, if you guys think back to the bonus step I shared with you, this is a must, okay? LinkedIn is a must for your job search these days. And then my ultimate guide to surviving your job search. If you are finding yourself discouraged by the process, I have some tips and tools to share with you inside that guide. And then Of course, one of my favorites is lifetime access to the lessons and the templates. So anytime that we add a template, that we change a video lesson or add a new video lesson, you guys get access to it, okay? Again, super simple investment, $97 if you start today during this flash offer. And then we will still jump into resume reviews in just a second, but I want to share with you guys one more person, Heather, who is a creative manager. She said, I landed a job. Your resume and cover letter advice helped me get interviews with almost every company I applied to. I just received an offer that was well above the salary range the company quoted. She says, thank you, thank you, thank you. Here's the thing, you guys. I want your beautiful face to be up here on my next presentation that I do for the Toolkit, which probably won't be for another couple months. However, I want to see you as one of these success stories. I'm not offering you guys a massive expensive program because the Toolkit can do the work for you, okay? If you get in and you start implementing and you start doing the things that I teach you, I promise you guys, you can see success just like all these people that I shared with you, okay? Now, you'll go to heatheraustin.online/live offer or use the link inside the chat. My team is in there. They've answered questions about the Toolkit. They've shared links with you guys, all that amazing stuff. That's in there, and I will be taking questions at the end in just a second here. Let me just see if there's any other questions that I can answer really quick for you before we jump into resume reviews. And by the way, if you've not yet shared your biggest takeaway, please pop that into the chat. I would love to know what your biggest takeaway is. Oh, Michael asked a really good question. Hang on, Michael. Michael asked, is the Toolkit different from World Class Career Academy? Yes, it's very, very different. So if you guys don't know, I offer two programs basically here out into the world. We have World Class Career Academy, and we also have the Career Advancement Toolkit. World Class Career Academy is my group coaching program. Okay, so this is where we meet on every week or on a certain basis, and we work together like in a group setting. And you meet with my team, and we answer your questions, and we review your resume and your cover letter and your LinkedIn profile and all that good stuff. In addition, World Class Career Academy has many, 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 many more lessons. Okay. The Toolkit is amazing because not only of the price point, but because it's a simple, easy to get started program, okay? It's not a massive program. However, I will say, I do have a lot of people that get into the Toolkit and they say, Heather, I really want to jump into the academy. I want to join you in the academy. If you find yourself in that position, please email me. We will get you in the right program, but those are the two basic ways that you can either work with me and work with my team and see success like these people that I've shared with you guys today. Okay, someone asked, Truth to Freedom, I love your screen name, says, are the video trainings in the Toolkit for interviews and cover letters? Yes, we do have videos inside the Toolkit that specifically relate to job interviews and specifically relate to cover letters. Now, I will mention this. Michael asked earlier about the academy. Inside the academy, we have what we call LinkedIn Profile Perfection, which is an entire, I want to say there's 20 video lessons dedicated to LinkedIn, okay? So that's inside the academy. However, inside of the Toolkit, you do get a bonus video on a job interview, and then you also get a bonus video. Again, that's for the first 20 people that enroll on cover letters. Yes, so good. Okay, someone asked, and I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, so I'm just going to read the question. Someone asked, when you buy the $97 package, do you help us check our edited new resume and cover letter, what mistakes we make? I have a separate service for a resume review. Now, keep in mind, you guys, I get a lot of people that come into my community and they say, Heather, I just spent $1,000 on a resume writer, and my resume is still not getting accepted, okay? I basically teach you with that $97 package how to correct your resume. And by the way, I'm not opposed to resume writers because, by the way, I have lots of friends that are resume writers. I have people on my team that are professional executive resume writers. I'm not opposed to that. However, the way that we teach it inside the Toolkit and inside the academy, it actually lands people positions. Now, if you guys go back to the some of the things that I mentioned earlier with the success stories, there are multiple people that say every single job I applied to, I got an interview, right? So that's our goal for you, is that every position you apply for, you get an interview. Okay, Brad popped in a question. Brad says, I'm a career change to a new industry. I don't know what career I want to move to. Should I buy the toolkit? This is such a good question, Brad. So here's the thing, and I work with Academy students on this. If you are kind of like, what do I even want to do? I highly recommend that you do some sort of a personality test. Now, this could be what we'd known as Myers-Briggs. There is a free version though that I take my Academy students through, and it's called 16 Personalities. That's going to give you some really good foundation and a really good overview of what positions you should go for and which ones you shouldn't. Once you get that idea, yes, the toolkit is amazing because basically has everything written out for you. Like, it tells you exactly what to do. Like, okay, Brad, you know that you want to do X, Y, and Z. Let's get your resume ready. Let's get your cover letter ready. Let's get some of the most important parts of your LinkedIn profile ready. Then when you start interviewing, it actually has the follow-up templates for you. So the interview went great. You want the job offer now. What do you say after the interview? Or let's say that you were working on you interviewed and you got really far down the line and they rejected you. Well, what do you say to them after that? Because we want to keep the door open. We don't want to be mad and huff off and say, see you later. These people suck. I didn't get the job. We want to keep the door open and we want to keep that relationship tight. So again, we walk you through all of that. Really good question. Awesome. Okay, I can see a lot of people are jumping in and joining the Academy. Thank you so much. Tori is popping in. All of the people that are coming in, welcome. I want to say hello to all of you guys, but we do need to get into the resume reviews. Okay, so I'm going to jump in and give me a second to pull up the reviews. And by the way, you guys are going to learn a lot from these reviews, because there were a lot submitted and it took us a little while to get through them, but we did pull out the ones that we thought, okay, this could benefit most people. So I'm going to pull those up really quick and we're going to jump right into those. So you guys should see our first resume. So if you can see the first resume on the screen, drop an emoji, a thumbs up, or say yes in the chat, and we're going to jump right into this resume. And hopefully, I know that's only partial. I will be scrolling up and down the screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, let me get my glasses on here so I can see this better. Okay, so this very first resume, good. I'm seeing some yeses. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. Nicole says, I just bought the toolkit. So excited for you, Nicole. Let us know if you have any questions as you're going through it. Okay, and you guys, my glasses are broken. One of my kids stepped on them. So hopefully they're not like too crooked. I can't find my other ones. These are my favorite ones and they're broken. So I'm just going to use them anyway. Okay, this very first resume, this is from a senior UI UX designer. Okay. Now, someone mentioned earlier about they have a really hard time condensing the resume. So I will say, and I'm going to just kind of go through what I like and what we need to change on this. I do really like that I can see section headings nice and clearly. Okay, so I see that that's a career profile. I see career skills and strengths. I have sales experience. I have design experience. Let me scroll down so you guys can see that. Like, everything is kind of nice and sectioned off, right? Pretty clear to read. Now, here's the problem, is that this is a 3-page resume. So we definitely need to condense this baby. So there is no reason, unless you are applying for some sort of medical position or something in academia, there's no reason for you to have a 3-page resume. Okay. I want to tell you, you got to get this down to a 2-page resume. I'm not going to tell you a 1-page because that's going to be too difficult with your experience and all the stuff that you want to share, which I think is an amazing, but I want you to turn that into a 2-page resume. Okay. Now, the other thing I noticed here is I do like that you have senior UI UX designer, subject matter expert, and customer service CX specialist. I like that you're drawing attention to the title, okay? However, the way that I want you to do this, and this will increase your chances of catching attention, I want to show you the resume inside the toolkit really quickly. I want to see your title basically laid out. I want to see the title laid out, and then I want to see your 3 key skills right under the title, okay? So again, that's going to draw attention, and that's going to hopefully convince me, if I'm the one hiring for that senior UI UX designer, that you've got the skills, and I'm going to keep reading. That's going to entice me to keep reading your resume. Now, here's where I got a little confused with this one. Is you mentioned in here, you have sales experience listed first, but then you have design experience. So hopefully you guys can see what I mean here. This design experience, I was like, well, wait a second, do you want a sales job or are you going for a design job? I kind of think you're going for a design job. So I actually would love to see you swap those 2 out, okay? The other thing too is I'd be curious to know is why they're separated. Like I would almost rather just see an experience section, and then I would love to see just from chronological order where you're working. And by the way, you have 2 positions it looks like, which I think is okay. But I would list the most important job first. So if you are going for a design position, I would list the design position first, if that makes sense. Okay, let's look at, there was something in the, you've mentioned something here in the sales experience. Let's see. Oh, I know what it was. Is there's some things that you're mentioning here. And by the way, this is for everyone. Hopefully you guys can see this. Earn the 2019 Publix Prevention Plus Challenge coin. That needs to be put into past tense. So instead of earn, you need to say earned the 2019. So just watch that, because that is something that I do see quite often in resumes, is that the correct tense is not used. So if it was a past object or a past something, put earned, recognized, so on and so forth. Also, the other thing I wasn't too sure about is you're using a lot of italicizing in the resume. I wouldn't use italicize. So I do recommend, you guys, I like when things are bold. I even will sometimes use caps in certain situations, okay, to bring attention to something. Like, for example, in the toolkit on this position, I have Vice President of Sales is capitalized, okay? The corporation XYZ, that is bold, but I don't recommend using italics. So I would actually remove the italics wherever you have them placed in the resume. Yeah. And I do think you've done really well with some of your bullet points. Like when I talked to you guys earlier about the sentence, putting your task and listing either the result or the outcome, I think that you've done pretty well in this case. I would double check each of those, but here's what's going to be the biggest challenge for you is really condensing this, okay? So this goes to anyone that has massively long resumes. I would get this sucker condensed into 2 pages. The other thing I want you to keep in mind is notice we never want to have one position where you're kind of talking about it on the first page, but then we finish it off on the second page. We never want to have that, okay? It all needs to be all together on one page. Now, again, this is where I talked to you guys earlier about this top half of your resume. You may have to eliminate the core competency section, right, to get everything to fit properly. Maybe you need to add the core competency section to get everything to expand properly. The point is that we never want one job to be listed on the page and then halfway listed on the second page, okay? We have to bring everything together so that it's cohesive, okay? So what I want you to do, the biggest challenge for resume number 1 is going to be condensing. So I would say get rid of anything that doesn't relate to the new position you're applying for. If it's an older position, let me show you really quickly how to write it. I'm going to show you an example inside the toolkit. You're going to say company ABC, list the date, list the company, and the city and the state or the location. That's it. If it's anything older than 10 to 15 years, that's what you can do if you want to still keep the position on the resume, okay? Let me check really quickly your education. I actually would, and I can't remember if I said this during the last resume show. I'm a big proponent, and it could just be my academic background, of listing education separate from certifications, because I feel like sometimes they kind of lump in together, and it devalues that 4-year degree that you have, or if you have a master's degree, that extra 2 years of school that you spent learning, right? We all know that getting a college education is not easy. I would love to see it emphasized more, and then potentially have the certifications, unless the certifications are weigh just as much. Did it take you as long to get those, right? And if it's as powerful as the education, that's fine. You guys can't see the bottom of the resume. Let me see if I can. I still don't think it's gonna. Maybe I'll do this. Yeah, you still can't see it, but underneath the education, there are some certifications listed. I would love to see them separated if you have the space, okay? The biggest challenge for you, though, is let's bring this one down just a little bit in length. I think some of your statements are really good. Here's one thing, and this is a common occurrence that I see from a lot of people, because you guys will be able to see this. Anytime you have one word on a line, that's no bueno, okay? You have to somehow rephrase your paragraph so that you have the word is now coming up on the line above it, or you're expanding more on the topic, okay? We don't want one word ever on just one line. So just watch that. Okay, let's jump into resume number 2 really quickly. Okay, so this individual, let me just refresh my memory. Okay, this individual, and I wanted to do someone international. So I'm located in the US, if you guys didn't know that. This is an example of someone who used my resume template to get a job in Brazil, but now they're looking for a job in the United States, okay? So what this person's looking for is what is going to make this resume most attractive to the American market, okay? So what I want, and by the way, there was another question that this person had, and I want to address this because it might have come through earlier for some of you guys. They asked about their address. So they said, hey, I'm not in the US right now, but I'm planning on being in the US in the next couple of months. I have an international phone number, but I'm afraid that recruiters won't call me because of this. I would definitely say, if you said you have plans to move to the US, if you have someone that is in the US that you know of already, that you can use their phone number and their address, like it's a location you're planning on going, I would put that on your resume. The other thing this brings me to is the importance of your LinkedIn profile, okay? So if you have your LinkedIn URL at the top of your resume, that's another way that they can actually get in touch with you and learn a little bit more about you, okay? Now, at the top of our sample resume here, you'll notice that I have my LinkedIn URL at the very top. If you are applying for the US, I would say, do you know anyone that you have a phone number with, or that you can share? Or, and I forgive me if I'm totally mistaken on this, Google has, what is it called? I don't even know. Google has like a way where you can have a phone number. I know we had this for a really long time, where you can actually register a phone number. And it's like a United States phone number. I would try doing that, okay? Because they might say, well, wait a second, I want to call this person. How can we call internationally? Like some companies just can't call internationally. So I would be mindful of how you do that. But really, really good questions on that. Okay, let's try and and go through this one. So first of all, love that we have the title at the top. Love that you have your key skills here. I will make a quick note on this. Let me zoom in just a little bit here. On that title, is the position title National Account Manager? It has to be the position title or something very similar for you to place it there. So that's what I would make sure is your title, okay? Now, the other thing you need to keep in mind is key account management, business development, cross-culture communication. Are those words specifically taken from the job posting? If they are, and those are the key skills that you possess, that's perfect. Now, here's the thing. You also want to make sure that those keywords are used multiple times in the job posting. If you only see it one time, like maybe they only mentioned business development one time, that might not be as important as you think. Okay, so make sure whatever you're using is mentioned a variety of times, or at least a couple different times. Okay. Here's the one thing on this one. I do like, you have high energy, culturally empathetic, and customer focused. I kind of want to give you a different way to look at this sentence. Because notice what happens, and I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see this even better. Notice what happens here is you have a sentence, but then you have another sentence that it's almost like you pressed enter to start your other sentence on the second line. That all needs to be together. Okay. So where you say expert connecting cultures through business and developing strong partnerships, pull that up onto that same line. Okay. So that it's all together. Because that was weird. I was like, well, is that supposed to be there? I don't think it is. So make sure you think about that. Okay, let me see. I do like that you have your account manager. I can see that really clearly. The dates, what I would do on your dates is I want to see them actually moved over to the left, or excuse me, the right just a little bit more. They're kind of indented. So if you look at our resume template here, you'll notice that everything is kind of aligned on the right. So make sure you do that. Okay, the other thing too I wanted to mention here, and this goes for everyone because I know some of you guys have done this. Notice in this where she's talking about what her tasks are and her responsibilities and so on and so forth. Notice we have developed, and developed. So we have developed mentioned 3 times, all in the same row, right? And then I have developed mentioned again, and then I have recognized and recognized, okay? You got to be careful with your word choice, okay? You want to make sure that you're using something different, okay, to create a little bit more interest. Develop's a great word, don't get me wrong, but you really only want to use it once in one segment, okay? So think of some other words that you can use besides developed. Like here's something to consider. Like, for example, you have developed monthly forecasting scenarios. You could do something like created monthly forecasting scenarios, okay? Another one that you have is developed, analyzed, and organized 200 potential leads, okay? You could say analyzed and organized 200 plus potential leads, okay? So you don't even need to have that word developed. So you can even take that out, okay? The other thing too, I'm going to go with the same advice that I gave the previous resume, where you have just one word spilling onto that next line. Try to like tighten that wording so that you're avoiding that spillage. Okay, does that make sense? I do want to see the second page here because if I remember right, yes. Okay. So here's an example, you guys, of where we have a second page where we're really only using like half the page. I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't love when it's all like there's all that space. So my recommendation would be to either number one, shorten it onto one page, which I think you could probably do, or number two, use that space a little bit better and use the entire 2 pages. And you probably could do the 2 pages because notice how close to the edge all of your bullet points are. Like you could actually probably shrink in the margins just a little bit to even like a 0.75, let's say. And then that's going to bring your education down onto the second page. And then you'll be able to use that space a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to actually do one more resume. Let me know, you guys, if this is making sense. Type yes into the chat. Oh, yes, Jan's here. Hello, Jan. Another option for your phone number, my friend from Brazil or anyone else from another country that wants to be hired in the U.S., Skype is another option for creating a U.S. phone number. Okay, type into the chat if this is making sense to you guys and if you're learning a lot. Also, if you've not yet shared your biggest takeaway, make sure you do that. I'm going to jump into one more resume with you guys. And by the way, thanks to everyone who submitted resumes because I know I told you guys earlier we had hundreds. The ones that submitted in the PDF format, which makes it really easy for us to cross out your contact information, and the ones that followed the instructions and shared with us what your situation is. Okay, let me give you guys a little bit of backstory on this resume. So this person says, I have been applying nonstop for a really long time and have not received a single call back. I've tried endless formats, bullet point orders, everything I can think of. I'm beginning to think my resume just makes me look overall incompetent and generic. Okay, first of all, you don't look incompetent and you don't look generic. We just need to tweak just a few little things to make it look even better so that you can start to get feedback or get interest in your resume. Awesome. Renee says yes. Alex says yes. ZL Palmer says absolutely, it is making sense. Lisa, hello Lisa, I'm so glad you're here. Lisa says yes. Brian says yes. Joan says yes. Emily says yes. Awesome, you guys. Love to see all the yeses that this is making sense. Okay, let me review this one really quickly because I feel like this is one that we have seen, like a very similar format to this. Definitely, this resume needs a career summary. So I know that you're cutting out all that stuff and you're just giving us right from the beginning the good stuff, which is the work experience. However, let's say I'm a recruiter and I'm hiring for 5 or 6 different jobs at one time, and this resume comes through, I'm not going to know right away what position you're applying for. Of course, you'll tell me in the title and the subject line and yada, yada, yada. But let's say I put all the resumes in a folder and I'm now going to go search the folder. I want to know, just save me time by telling me the title and 3 key skills that apply to the position, okay? So again, if I look at our example, I have the title and I have 3 key skills that relate to the position. That's what I want to see up here, okay? Now, the other thing that I want you to do, if you have not watched, we put out a resume video just a couple months ago. In fact, anyone from the team, if you guys can grab on the channel, there's a video titled How to Write a Resume in 2022. I can't remember what it is, but it's pretty much a full tutorial on like every single section you need on your resume. Watch that video because it's going to tell you exactly how to structure your resume. I think you have some really, really, really good bones here, but we just now need to get it. All we're doing is we're going to wrap it in a nice, pretty package so that when a recruiter or a hiring official sees it, they're like, that's our person, okay? So really get that summary in there, and I think that's going to change a lot. The other thing too, here's another thing I want you to think about. Well, okay, first of all, I do like that this is a one-page resumes. There is something about them as you're hiring that just, you're like, okay, this is good. It's not going to take me 10 days to read this resume. However, I do think once you start adding that summary, you really have to think strategically, like, what am I going to remove if I want to keep it at a 1-page, or if I want to expand it to a 2-page, what am I going to add? Okay. The one thing I want you to think about here is think about there's, and I didn't mention this in any of the other resumes, but you have an option where you can either list the job title first, or you can list the company name first. I will normally recommend, if you're applying for, like, for example, I don't even know what position you're applying for. I have no clue. I do know that your last position was operations and strategy manager. So I'm assuming it's something similar to that, which again, by the way, is why this summary and this statement just right here makes such a difference, because I would know what position you're applying for, but I don't know that based on just looking at what you have. So I would say, think about potentially listing operations and strategy manager first, and then the company name second. Now, the one time that I will tell you to list the company name first is if it's a really large company. Like, we get a lot of people that are that have worked at Google, or a lot of people that have worked at Facebook, or now Meta, or a lot of people that have worked with Amazon. In that case, you can list that position title or the company name first, because that's what's going to catch their attention. Oh, you worked for Google? Great. Like, yes, like just that alone gives you a lot of clout. Now, if you don't have a really big name company, you can list the position title first, okay? Like operations and strategy manager, because that's what's going to give you more clout over the company, the smaller named company that you worked for. So I would consider looking at that. I would also consider on some of these, again, we're looking at that where you have these really long sentences and then you're sharing just a couple of words on like a second line. Again, let's remove that spillage and either talk more about it, like go into more detail about that bullet point, or shorten it a little bit so that we are using the white space really well. Again, you're using italics too, so get rid of the italics. I don't like to see those. You can use, for example, in this example, I list the company name first in here, but then I have vice president of sales. That's capitalized. Okay. Now, hopefully this person in my example is a larger name company. And by the way, I do have a faux pas on this resume, and it has been bugging me for a while. I just haven't fixed it. The word company is listed on this third line. I need to remove that or restructure that sentence so that that's not there. So keep that in mind as you guys are doing your own resumes. Okay, the other thing I would focus on in this resume too, hopefully you guys can see this one. Okay, I would focus on more quantifiable achievements whenever possible. So I do see a good mix here. For example, let me zoom in just a tiny bit here so you guys can see this. It says drove a 35% increase in repeat business by developing strategies that align with team member operations with KPIs and other business goals. Okay, I think that's awesome. That does give me the task and the result. Here's a really good example of where I could expand on business goals. Like when you say KPIs and other business goals, what are those other business goals? It could be KPIs and other business goals such as yada, yada, yada. And then that would give me a really, really, really good solid statement. It takes up most of that line. And then the other thing I could do is when I go into the interview, I'm like, hey, this is one of my biggest achievements. I want to use this. Like, I'm going to talk about this as one of my career stories when they ask me an interview question. Okay. So if you really think through these bullet points, it actually gives you so much more ammunition when you go into the interview. Some of them are a little bit long-winded. Like I will point out a couple that I was kind of like, is there a way we could turn this into more quantifiable results, okay, rather than having some long-winded ones. And really, I really would love to see like you showcase some of these highlights. Let's see. Education looks good. Skills look good. I do like how you have them sectioned off. And I like that you have a little bit of personality in here. Normally we could use this in like a competency-based section, but it's not bad. I just think a few tweaks and changes. Resume number 3, because you mentioned that you haven't received a single call back. If you can get it into this new fresh format, I think you're going to see a huge difference. I also think if you can transition, once you get your resume written, if you can transition this into like a really nice solid cover letter and your LinkedIn profile, I think it's going to make all the difference. Awesome. Okay, you guys, we have maximized our time limit here today. I'm so excited that you guys joined us in the chat. Again, if you have not yet shared your biggest takeaway, make sure you do that. Make sure if you have been thinking about grabbing the toolkit that you grab the toolkit, especially before the flash sale ends. We have a 2.5 day time limit on that flash sale. We don't know if we're going to have the toolkit again priced like this again. It's almost like we have these forces pulling on us that we need to increase this price on it, but we keep trying our hardest to keep it at a level that is affordable to you guys. If you're on the fence, now is the perfect time to grab it. You get lifetime access to all the amazing stuff inside the toolkit. Let me just share a quick screen with you guys so you can see some of the resources at a glance. I know that I shared this with you guys earlier. You have your resume, professional resume writing templates plus examples, your application follow-up templates, your in-person interview follow-up, your interview follow-up after 1 week. You get your job rejection follow-up, your phone interview follow-up. We have a reference sheet for you, a resignation template. And by the way, you guys, this is just a few of the items inside of the toolkit. Your LinkedIn profile essentials starter pack. We have the perfect cover letter how-to guide, the ultimate guide to surviving your job search. We also have some amazing bonuses for you in there. And then most importantly, you guys, lifetime access. I've had people that have used the toolkit and a year later have come back and said, okay, I'm ready for a new job. I got to get in. I got to get the latest resume template. I got to get the latest cover letter. I've got to see what the latest tips are on LinkedIn. I'm going to hurry and switch these things up. And they actually go and land new job offers. So again, that is our total goal for you guys, is to land that life-changing job offer. So again, thank you guys so much for being here with this live stream. Make sure if you have not yet saved your seat for our free job interview confidence training, that's a live workshop, just like you see here today, a live job interview masterclass. My team has popped the link into the chat with you. It's also in the description below. If you go to heatheraustin.online/interview-training, you'll be able to save your spot. This training fills up fast. Okay. I think we'll probably have a couple thousand people, if not more, attend this training. So make sure you get in. Thank you everyone for attending. Thank you for being here. Make sure again, you guys, that you are there at our interview training and that you grab the toolkit before the timer ends. If you guys have any last minute questions, get them in the description down below, in the comments down below, and we'll make sure we get to them. And we will see you guys in the next video or the next live training. We'll talk to you soon.